Well, the Subalpine Warblers, Chapter 13, make for fascinating study. Saw my first one years and years ago. Just beautiful little warblers, and ones we love to encounter for folks who travel. But more intriguingly, that one Subalpine Warbler has now turned into three, and three different species really are recognised, and they leave their breeding grounds and disperse on a kind of broad front. So all three, the Western Subalpine, the Eastern Subalpine, and the Maltese Warbler, are proven and potential vagrants to Northwest Europe in the autumn. So let's dive in. Now, I labelled this one, photographed by Bardsley's ace photographer Ben Porter. I left it unlabelled as a Subalpine. I don't think they identified it in the field. I suspect, this is only the kind of conjecture, but that this is a young male Eastern Subalpine Warbler. And the reason I think that is, I think it's young because it had a kind of brownish rather than a greyish rump, and not a brownish looking tail in other photographs. But also this little hot spot at the front of the head at least seemed to be a feature of Eastern Subalpines that I've seen in Turkey in August, and Brian Smalls talked about these things. And then there's this sort of greyness emerging, which is typical of young males. So they didn't hear it called. If they'd heard it called, they might have nailed it as an Eastern. But I wonder if on plumage we'll get a bit sharper with these in the future. Here's an adult male Western in the autumn. Colour can vary on these from a little bit like this one to really quite extensive orangey, rich orangey tones underneath. And typically the malar strip tends to be rather short and kind of inadequate, really. Poor wee thing. Here's the one I want to find. This is a Maltese Warbler in the autumn, in October, not that far from where I live, on Helgoland in the North Sea. So it's reached the North Sea in the autumn. And this is an adult male. You'd never get a young bird with this much pinkish colouring. See Ray's lovely representation of the male Maltese. But look here, this is interesting. This is an Eastern Subalpine, same time of year. Adult male, fresh looking, blackish tail feathers, nice rounded tips. Look at this tail feather here. Yikes! It's kind of brown and warm and kind of ripped to shreds. That's because Maltese have a different molt strategy, quite a complex one. Some of them molt quite a lot before they migrate, and some of them don't, but it actually can be helpful in the ID. But the call is a real thing. Now, this is a curious bird we had up in Shetland that caused quite a lot of discussion in October 2013. It's found by Dougie Preston at Yale. And the looks of it, you see the grey and the colour. There's the grey in the head, and quite a big broad white malar, and a bit of colour, kind of rich colour coming through. Looked like an Eastern Subalpine Warbler. However, the call was a single note, wasn't the double note that people expected for an Eastern, and therefore the argument ensued. But we learnt a lot, and in fact some Easterns can give both types of calls. Read about it in the book. The thing that nailed it was one of the folks in my group, Nicola, who got this cracking photo. Look at that tail on the second tail feather, T5. It's an adult male Eastern, no doubt about it.